Guys, you know my love of Magic Spoon. It's low in sugar and still tastes great. My kids love Magic Spoon, and I can feel good about giving it to them. So if you love cereal, just click the link below to get some Magic Spoon cereal today. You can build your very own variety box. Use my code Chael. That's going to get you $5 off. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, maple waffle, blueberry muffin, and cinnamon roll. But wait, Magic Spoon is now adding Honey Nut to their permanent collection. So be sure to add Honey Nut to your custom box and try it out for yourself. Magic Spoon is so confident in this product, they will back it with a 100% happiness guarantee. That means if you don't like it, for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link below and use the promo code Chael for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/Chael to save $5 off your order today, and be sure you add the new Honey Nut to your custom box. Also, Magic Spoon is now shipping to Canada and the UK. Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blaydes. Guys, there was more that happened here than you may be aware. We can't even agree on how long the fight was, by the way. The UFC says it was 15 seconds. My television set says it was 15 seconds, and Bloody Elbow reported it was 16. What I'm just saying is we don't know a goddamn thing about this fight. We don't even know what the injury was. Truly. It was not obvious. Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. It was very obvious. Corey Hill, the first big injury we ever saw like this, very obvious. Then, of course, you know what happened to Weidman. It wasn't obvious what happened here. It really wasn't. Was this an ankle? Was it a shin? Or was it a knee? And I've seen that octagon jump up and bite people in the ass before. For example, truly, where there's a seam, and maybe not UFC specifically, I mean cage in this case, where there's a seam or there's padding underneath the ring, but it's not put in the right spot. Guys will stand in it, they'll twist their ankle. I've seen a lot of things like this, where you see the logos. This is a big one where you have the advertisement logos. That is a different type of surface than the regular canvas. So now you have two different feels, and people have slipped on them before. I only share that because I went back and rewatched this 5, 6, 7 times to see if that was what happened here. Hey, was this an issue with the actual floor? Dr. Abbasi makes a piece on it. And Dr. Abbasi, who's as good as they come, but easily the best in our sport, said, you know, guys, I'm not sure that I can diagnose this. And I think Dr. Abbasi even settled in on an MCL, but openly saying, I can't diagnose this. Now, the reason I bring that to you, why and how did that fight end? It was a strike. It's a kick, but it was a strike. One guy goes down and cannot continue. That is a textbook definition of technical knockout. However, when the guy went down, he said stop. He said that verbally, which is the textbook definition of a submission. How do we get to a no contest? I'm asking the question, how do we get there? Because O'Malley did. O'Malley Munoz did get there. And this fight between Tom and Blaydes was very similar to what we just saw. Saw it out on Long Island. Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. Something is happening. When that something ends, there is an injury that precludes one guy from continuing. That sounds like a submission to me. And these are really important that we get this right. If you are a handicapper, if you're betting, you can bet on the way fights end, not just win or lose, not just red or blue. You can bet whether it's a knockout. You can bet if it's going to be in the first round. You can bet if it's going to be over 3 rounds when it's a 5-round situation like this one was. So when you come to a final conclusion that it was a technical knockout, when a guy verbally is saying, uncle, how's that not a verbal submission? And I'm only asking the question. When I talk about a lot happened in this fight, first off, I believed in Aspinall coming into this week. Now, you also know I believed in Blaydes, and I don't hedge, right, guys? This was kind of a unique one for me, but I will tell you, Curtis Blaydes has the hardest skills of anybody in the organization for Jon Jones specifically. Specifically for Jon Jones, the X's and O's, the hardest time Jon is going to have is with Curtis. But where is Curtis? Where does he fit in? Off the top of my head, he's only lost to Ngannou, and he lost to him a couple of times. But he's only lost to Ngannou. And then, of course, getting caught by Derek Lewis. Is there any other losses that he's even had? And I've never known why Curtis isn't a bigger star. I don't think you can main event a guy and then turn around and tell him you can't draw. I just don't think you can do it. Even if it's true, I don't think that you can say those words. You're not a draw. You're the main event. It's tough. And Curtis has been a main event multiple times. And now he's a main event winner. Now, I just want to focus on Tom, though, because I believed in him coming into this week. I really did believe. Really in my heart, I thought there was something there. Now I know. Now it's not in my heart anymore. Now it's in my mind. I know. Tom is as good as I told you guys that he was. Tom came out and threw a kick. He ate 2 punches hard. Fresh, fast, and straight in the face by Curtis Blaydes. You got to be a tough guy to take a Curtis Blaydes punch, right? This is when he's fresh. Boom, boom, 1-2 right down the middle. Comes out, throws a kick. Boom, boom, same exact spot, 1 and a 2 again. Comes out, throws the third kick, lands it. This is ultimately what ended the fight. Took him again. Tom took 6 punches in the face. Fresh, full power, perfect shots. He took 6 of them. He was fine. Now, you can take pretty hard shots straight on. This wasn't on what we call the button. This wasn't just underneath the ear. This wasn't on the jaw. But he still took 6 shots. And I'm looking at it going, you're a tough guy. I don't know what happened with the knee. I'm just sharing for you. There's some other stuff I learned about Tom this week as well. I did not realize that Tom Aspinall, when I take a look at him, right, he's not carrying a lot of extra weight. He looks like a 205-pounder to me. I didn't realize he was 6'5". So where in my heart I felt as though I've identified, and I'm going to help to make sure that you guys understand, I've identified a potential contender. Now I know. Yes, we did. Tom is just that good. The other side of the coin, guys, Curtis has been that good, and we're just not giving it to him. And I've asked you guys, be fair with me, because I've asked you guys multiple times. Right here on YouTube, I just said, guys, what is it you don't like about Curtis? Curtis goes and fights Ngannou. Now, that's before Ngannou was Ngannou. We didn't know who he was. He loses in the very first round. It was like less than 30 seconds. He demands to fight him again. Dana gives him the opportunity, but this time he's got to go to another continent. It's a pain in the ass to get there. To get to a fight that nobody else is willing to do anywhere. Curtis does it again. He gets caught again. It's under 30 seconds again. Wants to fight him a third time. I mean, those are the kind of guys that we get behind. Those are the kind of guys we root for. And I've always asked, why don't you like Curtis? You've never told me. And I thought there was something, but I missed it. Curtis was a jerk. Here's what he did, but Chael missed it. Okay. I saw him at his post-fight interview. He stutters. He speaks with a stutter, and that's why you guys didn't tell me. That's what you don't like about him, and that's also why you didn't tell me. Because you needed to be a jerk if you said it. And I got to tell you, I thought he sounded good with the stutter. One of my favorite country music singers growing up had a stutter, but he didn't do it when he sang. And he got over. And I'm only sharing with you, if there's a part of his interviews that you don't like, when the guy's out there, he's putting himself out there. You think he's not insecure about his stutter? Of course he is. Probably got teased growing up. Probably doesn't want to come out and do these interviews, but he did it anyway. I mean, there is a lot of courage behind Curtis Blaydes. There is a lot of effort. There's a lot of willingness. Walking into the O2 Arena against England's star in a main event. This is Tom's not first time. This is his second time in a row headlining a sold-out arena in his own town. There wasn't a person there that had a good thought for Curtis, and he walked out there and he did it anyway, and he found a way. I just want to bring that to your attention. I just want to bring this to your attention, just how good these two guys are. There is nothing bad here that happens to Tom Aspinall. Nothing. I don't know what you have to do to have a no contest. We would all be very clear if that was a no contest that Tom doesn't fall at all. The other side of the coin, though, whether it was a no contest officially, guys, we did not have a contest. Can we agree on that? We have Tom Aspinall walked him down, walked to the other side of the ring, right where Curtis was waiting, looking to get into a fight, ate 6 punches to the face. You had 2 really tough guys there. One thing that Curtis brought up in the post-fight press conference, because a lot of these situations, okay, guys, time out, let's do it again. If you're in Dana's shoes, I promised the world this fight. I'm going to fulfill that promise, but when you don't know how long a guy's going to be out, when you don't know how long he's hurt, that's not really much to put. It's not much of a basket to put your eggs in. So they asked Curtis about this. Hey, what are you going to do? You're going to rematch him? And Curtis said no. Curtis said, the reason I'm not going to rematch him, I'm only going to fight for guys in front of me. I'm not going to fight anybody else until I fight for a championship fight or guys in front of me. Now, I would have to consult the rankings to know who would even be eligible for that because Curtis has kind of spread it around. I know that is typically something that would infuriate us over here. When a guy says no, when a guy's not going to spread an opportunity, I know that's the kind of thing that would generally have me furious. There's a level of it in Curtis's situation where it's necessary. Curtis is being overlooked. That's true. Curtis was brought in to be a main event, but all of the focus was on Tom Aspinall. And I feel as 4 or 5 other times in Curtis's career this has happened. And if Curtis doesn't start standing up for himself, it's never going to change. Somebody has suggested that Curtis, now that he came out of this with his hand raised, take on the winner of Ciryl Gane and Tai Tuivasa. I like those fights. I don't love them. I like those fights. I'd be in for that. No problem. Let's get Tom better. Let's not think about Tom too. Let's just get him healed. Let's get him in front of a doctor. Let's see what's going to be necessary. Let's get that time frame. I don't hate it. I just don't know why Curtis isn't eligible to be fighting for championships. That's tough. I don't know if Stipe has a bigger fan than me, and several of you are equal, right? Where we all love Stipe. But I don't know if you meet somebody that likes him more. I would just suggest for you, even in light of that, even in light of my bias, Stipe lost, as a matter of fact, was stopped in his last fight. Curtis Blaydes stopped his last opponent. Curtis is on a little bit of a roll. And that same thing is true for Aspinall. And that same thing is damn sure true for Tuivasa. And I think that it's going to be hard over time to justify Jones versus Stipe if it's for a belt. And we all believe that's going to be for the interim championship. Now, as each day goes by and each week and each month, that becomes less and less likely. Because all of a sudden you don't need an interim championship. Whether you're going to contest the undisputed championship and you're going to bring Francis into that, or you're going to take the belt off of him, as each week goes by, it looks as though Jones and Stipe should be fighting for the undisputed championship. However, as each week goes by, it makes the case a little bit harder for either one of those guys are part of it. One guy is not currently licensed. That's Jon, and has never fought within that division. That's a tough sell. But we will buy it because he was so dominant at 205. We will accept it. Stipe lost his last fight, and it was a meaningful amount of time ago. It starts to be a little bit hard how these are the two guys we go for a belt, for a massive fight, of course. No fight we'd rather see more. Is no fight we'd rather see more equal to you guys get a fight for the belt? I don't know. I don't know about that. At times it is. But as time keeps going by, it becomes less and less. Gane and Tuivasa are going to now have a very meaningful fight. That is the biggest and most important and most significant and highest ranked heavyweight fight that is currently booked now that Tom and Blaydes are done. So we're going to have some focus on that, but there's also going to have to be some demands. And that's where I come back to Curtis Blaydes at this press conference. When he said, I'm not doing any favors for anybody, I'm not fighting anybody lower than me, that will change. No problem. Someone from the UFC calls up, here's what we want you to fight. Curtis is going to go do it. Don't get locked in on that. Get locked in on the idea that Curtis Blaydes is finally standing up for Curtis Blaydes, and that's a good thing. How would you like to be a heavyweight that whips everybody's ass, gets all the hard assignments, have to fly into enemy territory over and over and over again, and not get any credit for it? It's a tough spot. Let's see where the whole thing goes. But I would like you to leave this weekend with a little bit different opinion than I think you had coming into this video. First off, we did learn a lot. We learned a lot about both guys. Curtis able to go out there with a house full of people booing him. Tom willing to go out there. I mean, Tom went out there like there was ice going through his veins. To walk into that audience and to be that calm and know exactly what's on the line. Where we go from here, that's always a tricky question. And should we revisit something like this? Should we revisit a freak accident and look at a no contest? That's a conversation for another day, but be ready for it. Because eventually I am going to ask that question, but I really do want your answer.